Hi, welcome to today's episode of Game Creation. So this week we've been looking at responsiveness and making sure that the full game is able to expand and shrink and all that stuff. But today we're looking at stuff like a little menu, a sub-menu, like with your hearts and stuff. And the problem with those is that if you imagine we've got loads of information, imagine like something like SimCity or Roller Coaster Tycoon or something that has loads of menus at the bottom. If you get a monitor that's smaller, it's just going to cut off the end menus, right? And that's not ideal. So you need it to react to the monitor size, either by making the icons smaller or collecting some of the icons together, like Microsoft does with the ribbon menu, where you click on the ribbon and then it shows you all the options, right? Because there's just too much, too many menus to fit in such a small space. And we're going to start doing that today, but it's going to be quite a big job. So next week we're just going to continue on and try and make sure we've got an amount of menu. Like I think we're going to have like hearts and stuff, and make sure that they can always fit. So without further ado, I've opened up the JRPG stuff, but you can do whichever application you want. These are going to be able to be carried forward to your project. Now, one way we could do this, I'm not going to do it this way, but one way you could do it is have a different frame for frame 1, right? And include this frame as a sub-application, which isn't available for all editions of Clickteam Fusion. But you basically do all your interface elements or all of your information elements on the frame 1 or frame 0, and then import this as a sub-application. That could be a way of doing it. I'm not going to do it that way because, I don't know, I just don't want to today. So what I'm going to do is I want to have maybe 50 pixel high menu at the top for all the interface stuff. Well, the first problem is that our man is at the wrong place, right? And we need to move him down because he's too high up as he is. So the Y is going to be, 50? Is it going to be 50 high? Yeah, that's about right. Let's see what happens there. Okay. And that's going to be a problem straight away because all of the movement stuff has been assuming he's at the very top. So we are going to have to set Y position, which is this one, and we're just going to say add 50 to push him down 50. Okay, let's see whether that works. And we can see it's already updated. And we haven't actually done any collision, so he can walk off the screen, but at least he's not going to be off screen at the start. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do problem with background objects is that they will get hidden, so we might need to do this as an active. It used to be that you should avoid actives at any cost because they'd slow down the computer, but computers are so quick now, having actives is not a problem. Now I'm going to put this at, I'm going to do the point at action point at the top left, so I know where it is, and then I'm going to put its position 0, 0, right? I'm going to put it as 50 high, and I'm going to put it as 100 width. Now you might be thinking, well, why have you put it as 100 width? Like that's clearly not going to be big enough, right? And you are correct. So if I run it now, it's going to go to the back. So we need a thing that says to always put it at the front, right? So we're going to insert a new group of events, and we're going to have like top menu or top. Yeah, I'll just call it menu. If you come think of a better word for it, please let me know. And we're just going to have like always at the top. So order, bring to front, so that is always going to be at the front. There we go. So it's always at the front now. But it's not big enough, right? It needs to fill the screen. So what I could do is do it as 1920 because that's the width of my monitor. But that's going to be a problem because like if we put it on any other monitor, if we put it on a 4K monitor, it's not going to be big enough. Something else you could do is put it at 8,000, right? And that would work because there aren't going to be many monitors, or maybe need to be bigger than that, but there aren't going to be many monitors, that it's going to be longer than that. But I want to make it so that it is like exactly the right size, right? Because when I start putting hearts and things like that up there, we're going to need to do that, right? Something that probably some of you are screaming at me now is, shouldn't it be on its own layer? I'm going to only focus on the layers when I need to. So I'm just going to ignore that for now. Okay. So we're bringing that to front, and we need to make it stretch to fill the whole screen, right? So what you can do is you can set Y scale. Now, you can only do this trick when you've got a block that is solid color, right? Otherwise, this is going to stretch the graphic, okay? So you could set the Y scale, and it is currently at 100. So try and do the maths here. If our monitor is 200, right, how would we work out, so the monitor's 200, how would we work out what we've got to times it by? So at the moment it's 1, so if I put a 1 here, it will be the same size. If I put 0.5 or 0.5, it will be half, right? So it would be half the width, which would be 50. So you try and work out a calculation to do with the monitor size, which we're saying is 200, right? And the current size, which is 100. And we want, if it was 200 wide, we want it to double. So the calculation would be 200 divided by 100, right? Which would be 2, which would be times it by 2, it would double. Our monitor size isn't 200, right? Or our frame size. So we're going to have frame window, get width of the window. And we probably want the client area, don't we? Thinking about it. Horizontal size of the client area. And then we're going to divide that by 100. Okay? And that theoretically, now this you don't need to worry about too much. I do maximum speed because they're all the same color. And you should only do this trick when it's the same color, really. And I'm an idiot because I've done the Y scale. Every time, eh? Right, let's copy that and let's start again to the X scale. So that's the problem with doing these in the morning. Sometimes also you might want to put a 0.0 at the end, which so some of you will be like, hang on, what the heck is the point of that? Surely 100 and 100.0 is the same thing. The point of this sometimes, and I don't think it matter here, is it tells Clickteam, look, do this as a float, do this as a decimal, right? Not an integer. Clickteam is very, very optimal. And the way it keeps being optimal is by not dealing with floats if it doesn't have to. If you put a 0.0 at the end, you're saying, no, sorry Clickteam, you're going to have to do the maths on this. Okay. And it has gone. Why has it gone? X scale to client width divided by 100. That's really strange. Okay, so what I do now is I paste that out to a global value so that I can actually read it. So global value A, paste, and let's see what's going on here. I'm sure it's something silly. Where's my global values? Where are my global values? Might have been really dense here. How have I managed to not get... I don't have global values here. I'm sure it used to show global values. If you know why, let me know. Okay, so we'll abandon that. And I'll put it into the little counter I've got on the screen. What is it? Set counter, that, and let's just remove the other place that I've set the counter. Right, let's try it again. Okay, so it's 9.2, so it should be 9.2 wide. So what, have I forgotten to bring it to front? Did I get rid of that? Yeah, I did. I'm an idiot. So order, bring to front. I got rid of both events. That's not the first time that's happened. Okay, now the problem is I can't check to see whether that's right. Okay, so what you can do is you can set it to that and then just take away 50, right? So you can see whether it is correct. So there should be a 50 gap. Oh, I'm an idiot. I can't take away 50, can I? Because that would, if it's 7.2, okay. So let's take away 0.2, right? Let's take away a little bit. So instead of 7.2, it would just be 7, right? And there's the little bit there, okay? So you can confirm that it's probably correct. And it's my math, so it must be correct, right? But you can see, so if I get rid of that 0.0 there, right, and it deals with integers now, you can see that it would go down from 7.2 to 7, and it will leave a little gap. And you'll be sitting there tearing your hair out going, why is this leaving a gap? I've done everything correctly, like all the maths is correct, and you'll realise that it's because you're not dealing with floats, right? So if I hadn't have put that 0.0, that could have been me pulling my hair out why this isn't working. Now, another option, so I wanted to show that, that was my showing you this today thing. It's probably not the best way of doing it. Probably the best way of doing it is when we're creating the grass, which I have no idea, where do we create the grass? Here we are, create the grass, right? What we probably want to do, okay, is just move all the grass down 50, right? So minus, up 50. No, down 50, but plus. Right. So it's going to be plus 50, okay? Yeah, that's fine. And so what that does now is it just shifts all the grass down. And so if we get rid of this, because I don't actually want this, like this was to show you scaling, but I couldn't really think of a way of doing it other than doing it this way. But what we can do now is we can just put the background as black, right? And so if I run it now, you can see that we've got the same effect, but we've just shifted all the graphics down, and yeah, and then that's it. Now, I'm just thinking, actually, I probably do want to do it the way I've done, because if you look at the scrolling, it will scroll the grass up and we'll lose our menu. So, I shouldn't have undone that, I think. Well, I should undo that, which I don't think you can do now, because when you change view, so I've got to put it in again. That's really irritating. So bring to front, and what is it? Scale X, client width divided by 100, and that you can see why I've done it as 100 tool on this 50 tool, so I don't need to deal with the height, but 100 width, because 100 just works easier. I have done things before where I've made 1 by 1 pixels, because if it's 1 by 1, it's dead easy. I can just then scale it by the width, right? The problem with doing that is you've got all of these 1 by 1 pixels that it's really difficult. If you wanted to change the color of it, or if you wanted to delete it or whatever, you just got all these dots hanging about here, and you can do it from this area as well, I suppose, but yeah, it's just irritating. I'm going to change the background of the frame back to what it was, so I don't really like black, makes me sad. And so what you can see now is if we scroll down, it will still cover the grass. Oh, it should still cover the grass. Okay, that's the other problem, is this will scroll with us, right? So we need this to be in place always. That, sadly, is something we're going to cover next week. So you will definitely encounter this problem where you build all this beautiful, heart containers and all this stuff at the top, right? And then as soon as you scroll, it goes away. That is not ideal, right? So you need some way of fixing that and making sure it always stays there. Now, Clickteam does have a solution for this. It's called Layers, and we'll cover it next week. I am like a complete novice when it comes to layers. I probably am not the most efficient person when it comes to them. I probably don't use them enough. What I've ended up doing before is fixing it by an always event and say always have my menu here, and then I make all the elements of the UI or whatever relative to the one element, relative to the background element, and I keep them in place. And that's horrible because when you scroll, you can see them scrolling and then jumping back into place. It doesn't look very good. So we're going to do it like the proper way next week and have a bit of a play. Now, if you're wondering why I kind of took a detour and then was like, oh no, that's the point of these videos, is that you are watching me trying to work it out, and hopefully it makes it more relatable. I don't know. I don't want to make these videos just straight up tutorials, because those exist. I've already done those on the channel, and they're not maybe as interesting to watch, and they're definitely not as interesting to make because I do all my days teaching, so I don't necessarily want this to be a teaching thing. I know also a lot of people who watch this know way more about Clickteam and game development than me, so that's always great to read the comments. And talking about that, keep your comments coming in. Over the weekend, send me a comment, send me something to do. So tell me what you guys are doing. Someone had an idea of us doing like a competition maybe soon, and I don't know whether we've got enough people at the moment to do like a game jam competition or something, where what would happen is I would set down some rules and say it has to be 10 lines, 10 editor lines long or whatever, or it has to involve this, it has to involve that, or you can't use any objects or something like that. And we have like a week to have a go at creating something. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. I think we'd need like at least 3 or 4 people to do it for it to be interesting. And then what I would do on the channel is review each one each day or something. And then, I don't know, maybe I'd do a little poll or something. I'd have to set up a Twitter or something or like that, to see who would win. But anyway, if you're interested in that, let me know. This is a tight knit channel full of people who are enthusiastic about Clickteam. What I'm always interested in as well is that because it's YouTube, people are probably watching this years down the line, and yeah, it is quite interesting to think like whether I'm still going to be doing this. I'm kind of hoping so. I did have like a 3-year hiatus where I just like, I don't know, life took over. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying being back. It's been quite fun. What has it been, about a month and a half or something? So yeah, we just got to figure out how we go from here, or where we go from here, and make sure there's lots of stuff to do. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. If you like this video, click like. If you want to see more from me, then click subscribe. Anyway, thank you very much, and have a lovely weekend.